Welcome back. Hopefully you've now got loads of names on the wall and will be coming back to them later in the programme. But right now, we're going to try and give you some insight into the issues and challenges facing the contact centre industry, an industry that employs over 63,000 people in the UK. And the reason we're doing this? We want you to be armed with the context you need to have informed conversations with your customers, to enable you to ask the right questions and identify opportunities. The customers you're about to hear from are played by actors, but the words are based on real feedback and conversations. So, let's meet the contact centre team.
This is a complicated industry, constantly moving, constantly evolving, and it's my job to deal with that complexity.
I absolutely love my work, but I've got to be honest, a call centre can be a really intense environment. Expectations are very high, both from management and our callers.
We're at the sharp end of how UK business deals with its customers. If we get it wrong, it's a really big deal. We're not an industry with much margin for error.
A big issue right now for me as an IT director is how the contact centre is seen within the business. The contact centre, thankfully, isn't the sweatshop of the past. It isn't a cost centre. It's a place that has a significant impact on the business's success. All of which means that the contact centre can't be an isolated part of my IT strategy. It has to be integrated with all the other parts of the business.
From a customer services perspective, compliance is very high up on my agenda. Regulators, for one call centre it might be Ofwat or for another Ofgem or Ofcom, use customer satisfaction matrices to determine the performance of a business, which means we're under the regulatory microscope. Unanswered calls, abandoned calls, letters of complaint, they all have an impact and the fines can run into millions. So I constantly need accurate and useful information about where we're getting it wrong and, just as important, where we're getting it right.
Attrition rates have fallen over the last few years, but staff retention still can be a struggle, for two reasons really. Firstly, if our callers don't get what they want, it's the agent's fault. And the anger that the caller has with the company very quickly becomes anger with the agent. And trust me, after a few of those calls, it really knocks you back. But it's also about having the right tools to do the job. With the right tools to access the right information, the job becomes a different proposition.
Another issue is future-proofing. In all the years I've been in IT, the pace of change keeps bombing along, so staying ahead of the game, or at least having the flexibility to keep up with the game, is really important.
And of course, then there's training. With attrition and the constantly changing needs of our customers and callers, quality training has to be at the centre of what we do here.
Cost is obviously a primary consideration. We've all been trying to do more with less for a long time now, and guess what? We're still trying to do more with less. So cost isn't an issue that's going to go away soon.
And the cloud, everybody's talking about it, everybody understands the value of it. But for a 500-seat centre like ours, the reality is that we're not ready for the cloud, and that's where an issue becomes a challenge.
So there you have it, some of the issues facing the contact centre industry. Let's have a quick recap. Unsurprisingly, call centres continue to be challenging environments to work in. Expectations are very high. Part of this pressure is created by compliance and regulation. Contact centres need systems which can help deliver regulatory expectation. Attrition rates are still high. Having the right tools to do the job is a key factor in staff retention. The rise of social media means that contact centres need systems with the flexibility to adapt to new communication channels. And of course, cost is still a key driver in decision making. Well, now that you've heard a sample of the issues facing the industry, we'd like you to take part in our next exercise. To understand your customers' issues, you need to ask the right questions. We'd like you to write 5 questions that you'd ask your customer. You need to identify who you'd ask and what you hope to gain from the question. Remember, at this stage, these issues are fairly broad. If possible, for the moment, don't focus on the contact centre setup or technology. You have 10 minutes to write down your 5 questions. We'd like you to use your workbooks for this exercise.